Habib Aremu, is Habib there? Okay, we'll come to
Yes,
Habib.
I am.
All right, good.
Yes, my name is Habib Aremu. I'm the CEO for promotional Africa, and I'll be taking you through the gamification ecosystem today with Toby.
All right, thank you, Habib. Obina Ikwe, can you introduce yourself? Obina Ikwe. Obina. Okay, we'll come back to you. Ugochukwu. Ugo, can you introduce yourself?
Good morning, everyone. My name is Ugochukwu Ezagula. I'm founder of Identity Brand Concepts, a creative digital agency. I'm also the founder of Virtual Events Limited, a virtual event streaming company. Thank you very much for having me here.
All right, thank you, Ugo. Jomi, can you introduce yourself?
All right. Just a minute. Yes, so yeah. Good morning, everyone. My name is Yomi Alake, and I'm the strategy lead at Nitro 121. Nitro 121 is a 360 in the Nigeria. So, really nice to be here. I'm nice to meet you all.
Your internet seems to be up and down.
Oh, wow. So what did you hear, please?
Would you take that again? Because I barely heard you.
Oh, okay. But you can hear me clearly now, right?
I think it's better now.
So, and I'm the lead strategist at Nitro 121,
okay.
Which is an advertising agency in the Ikeja area.
All right. Awesome. Thank you for joining in. And I'll let Toby do the introduction. Toby is the CEO for Brand Mobile Africa, and he would also, along with Habib, would lead us on the conversation about gamification in marketing. Toby, can you introduce yourself? I mean, I probably have done that, but still be nice in your own words. Toby.
I think you're on mute.
Toby.
Sorry. I was saying that, of course, you already kind of introduced me. My name is Toby. Yeah. I am the CEO for Brand Mobile Africa. And like Demola mentioned, along with Habib today, I will be preaching the gospel of gamification.
Interesting. Yeah. So, Obina Ikwe, are you there? Can you introduce yourself before we move on?
Yes, please.
All right.
My name is Obina. I'm the founder and lead consultant of the Copywriters Digital Marketing Agency. Yeah. I'm glad to be here.
All right, thank you. All right, so we just delve in straight away. Like I said, the agenda is just, move past the first agenda. And the next thing is a conversation and discussion on gamification. Toby, you need to come back on and let's start the conversation.
Yeah, I can hear you. Can you hear me?
Good. Yeah, you're very clear, loud and clear. Now, Toby, you started this business or this company and you built a platform. I've been hearing gamification for a while, and it's strange to me. Somebody said something and I wanted you to clarify that the statement that gamification has a lot to do with human psychology, has a lot more to do with human psychology than entertainment. I mean, what give I mean, open that up to us.
So let me just get that. The statement is that games has a lot more to do with human psychology than entertainment.
Exactly.
Yeah, I think I'll definitely agree with that statement. Because when you look at it, really, games have been able to, for generations, tap into like the intrinsic and extrinsic motivations of the players. And it's the fact that it's able to actually tap into their psychology that makes it entertaining for them to play it in the first place. So I definitely agree with that statement. And I'm sure as we go along with the presentation, we'll be able to highlight like different points that actually proves that that statement.
Okay, interesting. So in your experience, what do you think was the aha moment that like got you, what you can call the ultimate insight, in this journey of, building a platform that is hinged on the principle of gamification?
I guess it's the fact that when you kind of look at the research and you look at the fact that games are so successful, the major thing that stands out is the fact that it sort of cuts across all the different segments. So if you look at the research, you find out that women play games, men play games, rich people, poor people. So anything that is able to cut across segments like that, there must be a powerful driver in there, and that's what gamification is about. We look for those drivers and look for how we can use them in other environments.
I mean, from conversation between you and I've heard you say several times that that digital engagements, as we know it today, has not been able to deliver on expectations for brands as you will expect, and you often talk about that they focus on, most of the time, focus on entertainment rather than reward. I mean, can you just open that up a bit?
I think when you look at the typical digital giveaway today, a lot of the times they might do something like an awoof, like a giveaway. Everybody come and take some airtime, come and But more often than not, when those users engage in concepts like that, they don't tend to stay. You give them all of the freebies and then they don't become active users. So the idea of gamification, and I guess one of the major insights is the fact that it enables you to actually drive that conversion. So although there are reward elements, the users are not coming to get it for free. They have to earn it. So again, like I said, you begin to see how all of those drivers actually tap into like human psychology.
Okay, interesting. I know you would expatiate more on these talking points as we progress. But let me just ask again, what do you think is currently driving gamification in marketing? Why do you think it's becoming a thing that businesses, brand owners, and agencies are trying to click on as a vehicle to help them satisfy clients better?
Well, I guess like we've said, I think it's just the fact that over the years, people have come to realize that games are very, very much a powerful driver of consumer behaviors. The fact that they play such a huge part in how people spend their time, how they engage, it's very, very easy to sort of then build like your brand experience design around the concepts of gamification. And as brand managers start to realize that, as they begin to understand that what they want is more than likes and clicks, it becomes more important for them to start looking for tactics like gamification.
Okay, I mean that's so true. I mean, like I said, I've interacted with you and I've heard this gospel of gamification in marketing in so well that I mean it excites me a lot. And I imagine one of the times I said that, is there any other thing outside of, say, gaining access to heaven or entering heaven? Which other way is it in human endeavor that you can apply gamification for? Is there any other thing? You get my question.
Let me let Habib answer this one. It seems a bit techy.
Okay.
I guess like the honest truth is like going to heaven is probably like the biggest game that we all play, right?
Okay.
Have to be a good person to go to heaven. So I guess we're always in a game. The entirety of life is a game, right? We're trying to level up at all points in our lives. When we go to school, when we finish school, you get a job, you want to get promoted. And also when you die, you want to go to heaven. Some people want to be remembered. So it is the biggest, and it is still part of going to heaven as well. So I think it's part of it. It's part of life.
Interesting.
I don't think there is anything in life that cannot be gamified at all.
Wow.
Everything that you're doing is tied into some kind of reward. It's tied into some kind of progress. So
okay,
gamification basically is tied into everything.
Interesting. So you have a presentation today on gamification, right? All right. So I think you should just go into that and let's take it forward from there. You're muted. You're muted.
You're on mute again.
I was saying, yeah, sorry. You might need to enable me to share my screen.
Okay, I'll do that just now. All right.
Okay. Just let me know when you can see my screen, yeah?
Yeah, we can now.
Okay. Good morning again, everyone. I'll just reintroduce myself. My name is Toby. I'm the CEO of Brand Mobile Africa, and ultimately we are a technology company. We do build products for other businesses, but in-house we have like a suite of gamification products that we'll be talking to you about later today. But before that, we kind of just wanted to introduce you to the concept of gamification, give you a little bit of background so that you can understand how we've built our products and why they're so important when it comes to digital engagement and marketing. So this is just like the general agenda that we're going through today. We're going to talk a little bit about who we are, like I just went through. We'll look at some learnings on gamification. And then we might have, depending on how it goes, we might have like a quick break session where we ask some questions, and then we'll just round up by talking a little bit more on gamification. We might not follow this exact pattern so that we can save on time. So like I just said a little bit about us, we started operations as Brand Mobile Africa last year, January 2020. And before then, we had been applying the concept of gamification in Europe quite successfully. And here in Nigeria, what we basically do is we build products for businesses. If you're looking to build like applications, you're looking to build platforms, any kind of tech solutions really. But in-house, we are quite heavily obsessed with how we can change the whole concept of brand experience design, how we can help brands drive more engagement, more sales, more customer retention, and basically like drive more measurable conversion when you're running your digital campaigns. So a lot of our products are centered on customer onboarding and retention, sales amplification, and of course, user research. This is just both of us who will be presenting, Habib on the right, myself on the left. So also want to let you know when we get to presenting about our products, in fact, for this whole session, we're going to be gamifying it. And the way we're doing that is quite simple. You just have to earn up to 50 points. And when we tell you about our products, if you like what we do and you want to engage in our services, we're going to give you a 20% discount. So if you answer a question, you get 5 points. If you ask a question, you get 10 points. If you're cheeky enough and you trust your humor enough, and you ask a question that includes the words to a well-known song, you get 15 points. And as we go across this very slide, if you spot all the Davido images in the slides, you get automatic 30 points. So just look at those rules, try to memorize them, because your 20% discount hangs on it. So a little bit of learnings on gamification. Quite simply, games capture attention. If you look at the global gaming industry today, it's actually well over $150 billion, right? If you go online to platforms like Facebook, you're going to see millions and millions of people engaging in different types of games. There's a game on there called Farmville. Farmville is a game where you're cultivating digital peppers and tomatoes, and yet there's about 70 million adult human beings playing that game, spending hours and hours of their time. Candy Crush has over 200 million players. Fortnite has been known to have up to 1 billion players. And like I was saying earlier, it's really, when you look at the research, that's when it gets really interesting because it cuts across all of the different segments. And the reasons for that are quite simple. Games, they tap into like some of the major drivers of human behavior. So the need to achieve something, achievement, the need to immerse yourself in something, take a bit of an escape. The fact that it has challenge and competition. I can't see this last slide here, give me a second. just move this. And of course, cooperation. Cooperation is another major factor in games. Sorry. So that then leads us to the question, what exactly then is gamification? Because, you know, we've been talking about gamification this whole time. And quite simply put, gamification is, it's a bit of a science. It's the ability to, hello, can you hear me?
You're
Yes,
loud, you're clear.
Okay, cool. So like when you look at the fact that games are able to, you know, tap into all of those motivating factors, those intrinsic and those intrinsic and extrinsic motivation factors for players, we know that so gamification is basically the science of taking out all of those motivating factors, taking out those mechanics, and then basically applying it in non-gaming environments. So it could be like marketing, it could be like sales, whatever. But when you do that, what tends to happen is you're driving a lot more efficiency, you can drive a hell of a lot more customer loyalty and a lot more engagement. So gamification as a whole is tied into three things really. Behavioral economics, you know, what motivates this person, what is this person about, how are they going to react to this situation, what exactly do they want to achieve in life. You know, once you can understand those things and then you apply a little bit of game design. So when you apply game design on top of behavioral economics, what happens is that you actually begin to move away from human-centered, from function-focused design to more human-centered designs. Again, I'm not going to go too deep into that, but what it means is that you're putting your consumers at the heart of what you're doing. And of course, when you tie in a bit of loyalty program, when I say loyalty program, it could be anything like, you know, rewards, it could be something like badges, it could be something like certificates, whatever it is, points. And when you tie all of those together, you get gamification. So the simple science of lifting up the core game mechanics that we know are driving the success of games today and implanting them into non-gaming environments in order to drive efficiency, customer loyalty, and engagement. I'm not going to go too deep into this, but I just wanted to show you there are two things that are tied into those same things, behavioral economics, rewards, and sort of a bit of game design, and that is work. So work and game, are very, very similar, but you can kind of see with work, there are certain things that don't motivate the user. You find that people are not driven to be engaged, whereas with games, those things are actually completely different. So if you look at something like failure, at work, failure is something that is forbidden, it's punished, it's something you don't talk about really. Of course, nowadays, everybody's telling you to fail faster, but nobody really wants to fail, right? But with games, failure is expected. You know, when you fail, you learn. If you do something a little bit silly and you lose a life, you just go back to the previous checkpoint and you start all over again. So in effect, you're learning as you go along. It's encouraged. Sometimes it's even spectacular and you might even be able to brag about it. But every time you get past that stage and you move on to the next stage, you get a feeling of achievement, much like you do also when you're working. There are other sort of things, if you look at things like promotion, again, we're just playing around here, but in a lot of situations, people can get promoted even when they don't deserve it because they know somebody else. But with games, you move across the levels simply based on your own merit. So the fact that it's tapping into your own abilities, things that you want to achieve, that's actually why games are extremely powerful. And when we say that games are actually a lot more about psychology than entertainment, this is what we're talking about. People are playing games not necessarily because they want to be entertained. Of course, it is a factor, but more because of the fact that the games have tapped into their own desires, their own needs, and it's helping them progress within that game world. So maybe I'll just pause here and I'll let Habib come in and talk to us a little bit about the framework that we use and some of the core drivers that we implement during our gamification campaigns.
Yeah, so what you're looking at on your screen here is sort of the framework we use, and there are basically 8 core drives that we focus on. Not just we focus on, this is the Octalysis framework actually, or called the Octalysis framework, right? So the first core drive is epic meaning and calling. It means people who believe their journey is special, they're a hero in their own journey, and then there's a calling driving them to do that, right? And you can see a couple of the things. So this is a couple of the things that make this up, right? Or a couple of the attributes. So there's a narrative around it. There's elitism, human hero, or humanity's hero. You're the one who's going to save it. Saved the World, Revealed Hearts. And if you look at a lot of the movies that we see now or these days, a lot of this is around this, right? Epic Meaning and Calling. You also have the side where you get Beginner's Luck, and then there's then Free Lunch, Destiny's Child, and Creationist as well. Then development and accomplishment. Okay, should I share my own screen? Because the screen is going on. Yeah. Can everyone see my screen?
Yeah, we can.
Okay, great. All right. So as I mentioned, the first core drive is epic meaning and calling. Some people are driven by this. They want to be the heroes in their own story, or they believe that they've been made for something special in this world. They're the ones who are going to save humanity. And you can see a couple of the attributes that sort of drive that. We can use like certain narratives within the story. So I don't know if any of you here have played God of War. A lot of it has to do with epic meaning and calling, right? And then there's development and accomplishment. I want to get to the next level. I want to be better. Going back to our conversation around heaven, right? In reality, for development and accomplishment, I guess it's how people look at you that you rate as a way of accomplishing yourself. But there are other ways as well. If you go to school, you get certificates. You're now a finance person, and then you can grow across this level, or you're a BSc, a master's level holder. And then and so on and so forth, right? And then the ways we usually track this development and accomplishment is using things like points, badges, leaderboards as well. And leaderboards sort of show you the difference or the relationship between you and your other peers that are going through that particular game or that are playing that game together. And then you have a progress bar that always keeps you in check and tells you how far you are from your goal, or how close you are to it, right? And then there are other like attributes as well that you can use to track this as well. So that's for development and accomplishment. Then creativity and feedback. This is more like for those who are like creatives and they need feedbacks as well. So this is like an empowerment sort of thing where I give you all of the tools to create your own world. And the way we sort of implemented this so far in some of the projects that we've done is allowing people to create their own avatars, allowing people to take charge of their own environment, right? To create what they want. Ownership and possession as well. How do I own whatever it is? And this goes to the point of rewards as well. If I work really hard for something, the reward that comes with it, I will not let it go. I will not let it go to someone else, right? So you have things that you can use for this ownership, like virtual goods or virtual rewards. You can build from scratch, Alfred effect, the collection sets as well. And then the recruiter's burden, right? And this recruiter's burden, we've used it very nicely in some of our own campaigns, where we tell you, oh, refer this particular customer, and then you stand a chance to win a point. So you've actually done work to refer that person, and you own that person coming in, not necessarily own him, but own the procedure of that person coming into that game or coming into that platform. And then the social influence and relatedness, very, very close to development and accomplishment, because you can use a leaderboard actually to showcase this. Again, this kind of shows like how you relate with people around you, where you stand with them. So a lot of the parts around like friendships, the teamwork, mentorships, and then the social pods that you have as well. And then scarcity and impatience. This is another core drive that a lot of people are driven by. If I work hard for something and you tell me to go collect my points or whatever, but it's like I don't have enough time to get it. You see people are driven, they don't want to lose what they already have. Again, highly close to loss and avoidance as well. So you have some of the attributes that make this up. You have the appointments dynamics, magnetic caps, and then price spacing as well. So for scarcity and impatience is we're just going to give you a resource that's scarce and you have to work hard towards getting it, right? And then unpredictability and curiousness. We're going to give you games sort of like flip the card, flip and match. And this game sort of like give you, you don't know exactly what you're going to get. And that drives people. People are curious to see that. Or in a game where it's like a betting game where where we throw a dice, you don't really know what you're going to get. Some people are driven by this particular type of core drive. And then the last bit is loss and avoidance. Just like I mentioned, nobody wants to lose. There's also the fear of missing out from something. Or losing progress from what they've already gotten so far or how far they've come. So nobody wants to lose that as well. This is another core drive that drives a lot of users, a lot of customers that we've also seen as well. So these are kind of like the 8 core drives in the Octalysis framework that we use to build a lot of our games. But not just our games. You can use this in any other setting, in work as well. So for instance, let's say development and accomplishments, as I mentioned earlier, it's the easiest to kind of relate to. All of us work in the office. If I come in, let's say all of us are salespeople, and I come in and I put one of us's images on the board as the best salesperson for this month, right? Obviously, I would be gingered to do more. I would want to do more to reach that person. The person himself will not want to give up on the status they've already attained, right? So these are sort of like the core drives that we tap into to sort of drive customer behaviors, or gamification generally drives into to drive customers' behaviors or users' behaviors to get them to carry out an action. Yeah. So I think that's it on the Octalysis framework. If there are any questions?
Yeah. We'll get into the questions bit shortly. Hello, can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you.
Okay, so I'll just move on to the next slide.
Okay, let me stop sharing my screen.
Okay, thanks a lot for that breakdown, Habib. So the idea of these core drives is the fact, like we're talking about, when it comes to games, you find that every single one of these core drives have been implemented in there somewhere. So for every game that you're playing, there's a little bit of accomplishment and development. For the more social games like Candy Crush or Farmville, like we mentioned earlier, that's more tied into social influence and relatedness. And once we have an understanding of all of these core drives, it is then easy for us to break them down by pulling out the different mechanics that we know is actually powering them. So you have something like points. So points are very, very tied into accomplishment and development. It's also tied into social influence and relatedness. Leaderboard is also tied into both of those core drives because, the moment you see how you're performing in real terms against other people of your peers or even strangers, it motivates you to want to play more, it motivates you to want to win, it motivates you to want to make sure that you're on top. So that drives engagement. Then there are other things like badges, rewards, and of course levels. Levels is very important when it comes to engaging audiences or tracking progresses. And of course, there are challenges that we can build in. So the whole essence of this, like Habib was saying, is not just about sort of advertising. It's more about looking at how we tap into the customers or the users' mindsets and how we can apply it across multiple functions, whether it's marketing like we do, or whether it's in the workplace like we can also do. So gamification comes in 2 forms. There is the advert games, which is more like the advertising games, and then there are the more serious games. Serious games are more like when we come in and we gamify your HR processes and the way your people are working. So here we're going to take a quick break. Remember the rules at the start. If you answer a question, you're getting 5 points. If you ask a question, I think you're getting 5 points. And sorry, 10 points. And if you answer a question that if you ask a question that has the lines of a popular song, you're getting 15 points. And if you've spotted the Davido, so we're going to ask you where you spotted the Davido images later on, you get 30 points. So any questions at this point, or Demola, do you want to step in at this point?
Yeah, thank you so much, guys. So is there any question at this point?
Yes, please.
Yes, all right, good.
Going through all that has been said, I think what stands out for me is the fact that this can be very engaging, using games to draw people into your sales funnel. But my only observation or worry, it's a form of a question anyway. What kind of people would you be trying to draw in with these games? I know I don't play online games, and I know a lot of people like me don't play online games, prefer to play outdoor games, and, get some fresh air, do some exercise. I deliberately avoid all kinds of games online. So what kind of people are you targeting? The psychography, the demography of them?
Peep, you can take it.
Yeah, so honestly, we're targeting everybody. There's no real demography or psychography of people that we're targeting on here. So, for instance, in Nigeria, and I think maybe that stat was not on this, the entire social gaming market is about $123 million, right? And people are paying to play these games, and quite a number of them are actually women, right? And everybody plays games. And during the Corona times, what we found was that that number actually went even higher, right? So there's no real demography. There are people playing Candy Crush. There are people playing Farmville, just like Toby has mentioned as his examples. Other people play more video games, not necessarily online games. I play chess just to while away time and just to raise my levels. So what we found so far is that there is no real demographic set. And even with the campaigns we ran in the past, the demographic comes from everywhere. There's no real, most people think it's the youth or young people. With what we found.
And actually, even with the campaigns that we run, it's actually quite easy for us to then tap into those users' mindsets and then find out a lot more about their psychographics. We'll show you exactly how we do that using our platforms.
And also, I'm aware. Yeah. Thank you. I'm aware, Toby. You've mentioned this to me previously that your platform in a way caters for some outdoor engagements and not necessarily digital. There's some outdoor engagements. There's some on-site engagements that your platform caters for.
Yeah. So gamification is not really tied into online games specifically. In fact, there are some campaigns that we can deploy that don't even involve the user.
Toby is hanging.
Yeah, I think his network is bad.
So,
Abib, I think you should just talk about that. I know a lot of that will still come up.
It's more about taking the elements of gaming and the things that are actually tied into the mobile devices. I don't know if you guys heard me at all, but my network is fluctuating a bit.
Yeah, I didn't hear much of what you said.
Okay, so I was saying that when it comes to gamification, it's not necessarily about the user having to play a game. It's about us actually lifting those core game mechanics and those core drives and implanting them into like that engagement. We have campaigns where the user doesn't even have to play a game at all, but the game mechanics, share with a friend, leaderboards, those game mechanics will still be there. And whether it's an online campaign or it's an experiential campaign, or even if it's a campaign on TV, it can be gamified. Whether even if it's a newspaper campaign, it can still be gamified, right? But the idea is that obviously because we're a tech company, a lot of what we do is focused on targeting users on mobiles because we know that they spend, like Habib said, over $200 million today in the Nigerian online social gaming market. Sometimes in some games, over 50% of the players are women. In some cases, there are men in their 40s, people in their 60s. It cuts across all of the different segments.
Sorry, does that imply that we've been doing one form of gamification or the other, even before now, through the different campaigns we have, right? Even from the 80s, like share with your friends, like take a picture and all those kind of thingy?
Absolutely. In fact, for almost everything that you've been doing throughout your life, you've been playing some sort of a game. And with most advertising campaigns, they've been using gamification for quite a long time, but they just didn't understand the principles of it. They didn't really go deep into the psychology of it. It's only recently, over the last sort of 10 years, maybe since 2014, where gamification became a big thing in the West. So in the West, they've moved quite far along with it. There's a lot of corporate gamification going on. Most of the FTSE 500 companies use gamification in their training. And now in Africa, we consider ourselves to be the pioneers. We're trying to build out this ecosystem to make brands and agencies begin to realize this is the most powerful tactic to be using in this day and age.
So, sorry, another question I have for you. Do you guys have statistics about gaming in Nigeria, whether mobile, whether online, whether with devices?
Yeah, we don't have like I don't know if we have like a full breakdown. We know that there's a huge mobile penetration in Nigeria, but the online social, like not even the entire gaming market, just the online social gaming market in Nigeria today is anywhere between 180 to $200 million. And the segment of players, like we said, is cutting across both male and female of different ages, playing different types of games, obviously. But the market is showing that not only are Nigerians playing games, they are more than happy to pay to play those games.
And you don't have, whether you have locations that are booming more? We might be surprised, and Oyo might show up.
Well, honestly, you know how it is. Getting data of specific things in Nigeria can be a little bit tricky. You might get information that says one thing and another one that says something else. So one of our major drives is to build out that data and understand the market a lot more through the campaigns that we're running.
Okay. All right, thank you. Is there any question at this moment? Is there any other question at this moment that we can move on? All right, Toby, I think we just move on.
I think, Habib, did you want to talk a little bit about this psychology of gamification and how it ties into like the specific needs according to like Maslow's pyramid of, I can't remember what it's called, hierarchy of needs?
No, not really. I wanted us to go into the ecosystem one, so we could just.
Okay, so I think we can actually end this one here. We just took a look. There are some case studies, but we're not really going to go too deep into them. But this is just like a quick, what do you call it, like the best practice for when it comes to applying gamification to your business. The idea obviously is that we would expect that you choose a business objective, identify the desired behaviors for the gamification program you want to run, choose the rewards to incentivize the participation, obviously, because ideally you want to tie what you're doing into rewards, because that's how games work. The user plays to the end in order to get a reward. And of course, if you're not an expert, if it's not something that you've done, you want to meet people like us, you want to choose a good gamification provider who understands it. And in our own case, like we say, we have our own technology that we use to deploy gamification concepts. You pick a framework. For us, the optimists that we've shown you, that framework works best, and it's probably the most famous framework there is in the world for gamification. Based on what you want to achieve, your own motivations for your campaign, and then of course the user's own motivations. We select the game mechanics. Of course, then we configure, we build it, and then we deploy it for you. And of course, ideally, you want to be able to track your progress with analytics, and we provide a dashboard that does that.
Okay,
so
thank you.
Habib, do you want to take us into the ecosystem? So let me stop sharing. This part.
Can everyone see my screen?
Yeah, I can.
Okay, great. So I think Toby has already sort of like taken us through what we do taking all of us through what we do sort of briefly. I'm going to just skip this. So into our ecosystem, we have built a couple of products using the principles we mentioned, using gamification. Mostly the elements that we've deployed so far from based off what we mentioned. We use points, leaderboards, badges, and rewards to drive users in different non-gaming environments. And the non-gaming environments that we've chosen are one, advertising or marketing, the second one, loyalty, and the final one, sales gamification, right? So on the advertising side, the product that we built out is called Proxima. So this is an advertising solution that we use to convert users and also engage users, increase awareness of brands as well. With this platform, we've run like multiple campaigns with this particular product. One for Nigerian breweries, another for P&G Safeguard. And what we've been able to find so far is that we've been able to do about 30 to 35% conversions on all the campaigns that we've run, which is way higher than what you'd get on a regular social media campaign that you run, right? And I'm going to go into detail as to exactly how Proxima works and how we'll be able to do this on the customer onboarding side and engagement side. We also use it for user research as well, just so I could touch upon that point, where if you're running an online survey, one of the major challenges with online surveys today is that you don't have enough respondents completing the surveys that you give them, even if you're rewarding them at the end, right? So what we've done is to make it more engaging. And what we find is that you're able to increase the number of respondents, the number of completed responses by about 40%, right? Just applying those little principles that we mentioned. Then the loyalty side, how do you retain your current customers that you already have? And how do you make them into advocates that drive other customers to come on board your own platform or come on board or come engage with your own brand, right? That's another point where we've done it. Again, I'm going to go deeper into that as we get there. But just to give you a brief summary, we kind of implemented this using the RFM model, where we say how recently has this customer or this user engaged with your brand, how frequently has the customer engaged with your brand, and how much in monetary value has that customer or user spent with your brand, right? And we rank these customers based off of that and give them points based on when they do these activities, right? The final one is a sales gamification side, where we're able to, where we basically targeted FMCG retail outlets and their salespeople there, and we've looked at how do we drive those salespeople to deliver more on their sales targets, but not only that, to also increase their education on the products that they're selling. So one of the things we found was that a lot of the sales reps in most of this retail outlets and don't really know what they're selling. They're just there in a reactive state, waiting for customers to come. But what we've done is that we've created a flow that basically makes them more proactive, thereby increasing more sales. And again, we'll go into that shortly. Now, all the data we collect across these three products are all put in our data management platform called Sensei, where we're able to provide you with information like the number of people that participated in a particular campaign, what channels, if it's coming from Proxima, obviously, what channels those people came from, how many of them actually converted and actually got their rewards or actually went to redeem their rewards as well. So this is sort of our ecosystem at a very high level. Before I go into the nitty-gritty and the details, I'd love to hear if there are any questions at this point.
Okay, I have a question, please. All right, you mind going back to the previous slide?
Yes.
Okay, so first of all, fantastic presentation, great job, great work you people are doing, and I really am excited to be in this session. I just wanted to find out the data management platform. Now, is there a window open to the clients? So now maybe for us as agencies, if we engage you, right? Do we rely on you to give us this data, or is there a window where we can actually see this data by ourselves, you know, without necessarily having to wait on you? I mean, can we see this data real time?
Yes, so there is a window. So right now, as we speak, for these 3 products that you're seeing, especially these 2, they are fully built out all the way to the end. This is still in MVP state. For this, it's tied into all 3 products, and each of the products have their sort of admin side where you're able to view all of the reports and analytics, right? So yes, you do have that window. That's as an agency. We can't provide the same thing as well to the customer or to the clients or brands, but one of the things we found is that we prefer to work with the agencies. It's just an easier fit, right? The agencies already have the brands. So we have that section or segment for the agencies as well, but we can't.
Okay, that answers, thank you. I think that's perfect, the agency at least.
Yeah. Okay, great. So, so Proxima, as I mentioned earlier, is our customer onboarding and engagement tool. We're able to, so just to give you at a very high level, what's a brand or what an agency such as yours would be able to do on our platform if you came in. You're able to create a campaign link. And when I say campaign link here, I mean a HTML5 page, which is where the games actually go ahead and work on. And it's going to be skinned fully in your colors or in the brand colors. Then you're able to choose the audience you want to target and where you want to target them, right? Do you want to target them on social media? We have our own partnerships with a couple of audience inventory providers like Transion. So Transion are the owners of Boomplay, Infinix. So they have about 350 million database of Africans, database of people across Africa. So we can also reach out to them. But if you want to do SMS as well, that's fine. Obviously, there's a cost attached with SMS. Email as well, we can do that, but the conversion rate for email is quite low as well. So we usually advise that social media is a good way to go, or if you already have your own customer database that you want to reach out to. Then you can set the call to action, which is the critical thing, exactly what you want them to do. Do you want them to go onto a landing page? Do you want them to download an application? Do you want them to actually visit an offline store? You can set that as well on the platform. And all of these things that you see I'm mentioning here are all going to become self-service by April. So meaning that you don't even need us to do this, right? You can just go on the same admin platform I was talking about earlier to do it. And then you can send out this campaign URLs to the channels that we mentioned earlier, SMS or programmatic channels. So a couple of the games that we use currently or that we built out, some of the template games include Spin the Wheel. So for Spin the Wheel games, it's pretty simple. You get like different quadrants of a wheel, and then you have like different options of what you can win. Monetary value in some scenarios can be discount voucher or discount codes. You spin the wheel, and then wherever it stops is what you win. If you don't win, you have to try again, obviously. The other game that we have is Scratch and Win. You just scratch the surface of your phone, it reveals what you've already won. Basketball is another game where you just get to pull the baskets into the ring, and then you win. If you do it 5 times, you win certain points. And tic-tac-toe, I think all of us know how tic-tac-toe works. I'm not going to go into that. So these are the template games we have, meaning that it takes us about a week to kind of put this together. Meaning when I say put this together, means that we're just going to skin it in your colors, and we have a certain standard flow it follows, which I'm going to go through in the next slide. But we can also build custom built games, right? Depending on your requirements or depending on the client's requirements. So if you need that, but obviously that comes at a different cost, depending on how difficult the game would be. We do have other games as well that are not represented here, but these are the basic ones that we currently have. So Proxima at work. So this is the full flow of Proxima, how exactly it works. Please let me know if you can see everything here or if you need me to increase the size. Okay. So as I mentioned earlier, you're able to reach out to customers via different channels, SMS or digital channels, or the programmatic channels. So digital here being email, or you can reach out to them via WhatsApp as well. In some scenarios, you've seen Telegram as well, or any of the programmatic platforms. Once the customer sees the link, and you can do like a sponsored ad, obviously, on the programmatic platforms. Once the customer sees the link, he clicks on it. The first thing he has to do is to accept our privacy policy. basically giving us consent to use his data. We are NDPR and GDPR compliant, so I don't think there's on the data aspect, I think you are covered. Once they click on I accept, they basically put in their phone number or the unique identifier. So depending on what you want to collect as well, we can make this email. Once they enter that, they get started, they get the game rules as well, what they exactly need to do to win. And in this scenario, the game that we actually did was flip and match, where we sort of implemented a couple of core drives, just like we mentioned in the former presentation. We're doing unpredictability and curiousness. Once you are able to match any of them, you win your points. And then we're able to ask you a quick survey question. So these are some of the ways we just drop data collection questions within the games, right? So immediately here, we ask you, do you prefer clubbing or do you prefer watching Netflix? You give us quick feedback on that, and then you move on to whether you want a price or not, depending on if you won this game, right? Now, there are two ways that we sort of give the rewards. One is instant rewards, where you get it at cash price or airtime, data, or in some scenarios as well, insurance. But in this scenario, we did a discount voucher that you can go and redeem at an online or offline store. And then there's the other more long-term one where you have to do a leaderboard. So when I say long-term here, it could be a day where we do like the campaign across the entire day, and then based on your position on the leaderboard across that for that day, you win rewards or not. And we can even extend this leaderboard to more than a day, to a week, a month, and so on and so forth. Now, once you've gotten the reward that you win, before you redeem, we ask you another set of questions. Again, just because you already know that you're looking forward to winning that reward, you're going to definitely answer these questions. You go ahead and answer it. And just to give you a brief, a brief example, what we did for multinational games, just for 15 naira, you'll be shocked at what people are willing to tell you about themselves, right? Once you do that, then it comes to the critical part, the call to action. What exactly do you want them to do to get you this reward? Download an application, follow you on your social media pages, share this link with some friends, or click on a link and go to a landing page, right? Or even visit like an offline store. Once these call to actions have been done, then you can go and redeem. Then it's now the redemption phase, where you can redeem it online. In this scenario, what you're looking at here is a Jumia page where they take that discount voucher and they go ahead and redeem, use the discount vouchers to purchase a product and get the discount, or they go to an offline store and they get the discount. Now we have an interface where the retailers at the offline stores are able to verify that you actually want this voucher on our platform. Now, another very nice tactic that we employ here is the timer. So this is the loss and avoidance in action we were talking about earlier. So we tell you that you have barely 10 minutes or an hour to kind of go redeem your reward, right? And imagine this is Lagos, especially if it's an offline redemption, who's going to go drive all the way to redeem something on the mainland if you're on the island, right? So we tell you to extend this time to have a chance to redeem your reward, answer another piece of data question, right? Again, collecting survey questions as we go along in the games as well. So with all of this, you can build a very solid profile of a customer that goes through this process. Now, all of that data we collect, as I mentioned, goes into the data management platform, and then we obviously showcase the analytics earlier before to our customers, mostly the agencies. So I'm going to take a pause here for Proxima and any questions that you have as well. Hello?
Is there any question? I think, Abib, two people joined us while we were running the session, and I would like them to introduce themselves before we continue. Tunde Foster, Malga at the top. Tunde Foster, can you introduce yourself, please?
I think maybe he's on mute and he doesn't know it.
Yeah. Okay, I think you.
Maybe we can just move. Maybe we should just go on. And,
yeah, let's move on. I will
introduce himself at the end.
Yes. Kindly move on, Abib.
All right. So one of the ways we looked at how to sort of implement Proxima was using a game block example, right? Where we sort of use influencers to drive people to go to our campaign links, where you're not just focusing on someone's speaking. Yeah, where you're not just relying on your social media campaigns to sort of run that. So the way that will work is that you have an influencer, in this scenario, Ramsey Noah, who basically uses Instagram Live. And especially during the height of the lockdown, we saw that a lot of influencers were leveraging a lot on Instagram Live. They go on there, they educate their customers and their audiences about the brand and whatever product it is they're selling or they're trying to drive. Once they've done that, then the influencer actually shares the link for the customers to engage, and then we can now give them the rewards that they get to win. And part of the things we can do as well, outside of just rewards, obviously, just like we do today, the influencers can also post them as well as part of that reward as well. So this was like a concept we came together with, where you don't have to only rely on social media campaigns to run this. Yeah. So that's Proxima in a nutshell, end to end, and how it works for customer onboarding and engagement. So if you want to drive awareness and you want to onboard new customers. So I'm going to move on. If there are no questions, I'm going to move on to consumers, which is our customer loyalty platform and retention platform. So in the how do I put it, in the life cycle of the customer's journey, once they've already joined you, now you have to retain our customers and make them become brand ambassadors, so to speak, right? And as I mentioned earlier, we use three major models to track the customers that you have, or three major criteria. One is the recency, frequency, monetary value, where we say how recently did this customer come to your platform, how frequently does he come, and how much monetary value does he spend. And based on these activities, we give them rewards, right? Now, for different scenarios or different types of product lines, we have different ways we've sort of implemented this. So if the brand you're representing is a technology brand, for instance, we can integrate directly with your products to kind of capture this activity. So let's say it's a fintech product, we're able to capture these activities for those on the platform and give them the rewards on our own side of the platform, which is Arena. I'm going to come to what Arena is exactly in a minute. The other side as well is that for offline side, we have a way that we've implemented it, where if you go to an offline store and you make a purchase of a particular product, there are two ways that we capture the data of the customer that he actually made that purchase. One, we have like a unique code that comes with that product, where the customer just takes that unique code when he buys the product, purchases the product, puts it on the platform, and then that is registered as a sale for him, right? In the scenario where customers don't want to do this, we're able to tell the retailers, or the sales reps, to actually enter the details of the customer's phone number. The customer gets an SMS or an email with a link to the Arena platform, where they can view their points and how much loyalty points they currently have, right? So depending on which scenario works for the customer, some customers don't like to drop their phone numbers with anybody or their unique identifiers with anybody, and some don't like to do take a code and enter it themselves. They probably would forget, right? Again, using the same scenarios we mentioned earlier, or the same elements we mentioned, leaderboards, the personalized rewards and incentive, and the social assurance side. So yeah, so this is the flow for consumers and exactly how it works, and on the customer side. So this is what the customer would see, or your customer would see, based on the link that you share with them. They put in their phone number and they get access to the Arena platform. And on Arena, they're basically able to see how much points they've been able to accumulate with that brand. Take surveys if you want to run direct surveys with them. And for this surveys, they also earn more points. They're also able to play games if you want to give them games. And then they're also able to view their position on the leaderboard if you're running a long-term campaign where they can see that, right? So all of these things allow them to earn points, which they can redeem as either discount for products from that particular brand, or other types of discounts as well, right? So in this scenario, the person answers the survey question, gets his points, sees his position on the leaderboard, and then goes ahead to redeem the price. In this scenario was a cash price. But as I mentioned earlier, this could be anything, right? From insurance to airtime data and whatnot on the consumer's journey. So I think for consumers, this is the end-to-end process for it. And just kind of going into this as well. So some of the features that we have, you're able to gather data, segment the customers that you currently have on the platform. So based on the survey questions that you're asking, you build profiles of your customers, and you're able to segment them. And also not just that as well, using the RFM model that we mentioned earlier, you're able to know which are your best paying customers, which are your most frequently coming in customers, and you're able to segment there and know new offerings that you want to offer them as well. And then there are campaigns and challenges as well that you can run. Just like I mentioned earlier, you can do games that they have. You can have long-term challenges that you want to run for them, where they have to kind of rise on the leaderboard. And these challenges could be like a referral challenge. Highest person to refer 10 people to come to the platform earns this amount of points, right? And then obviously the endpoints, I mentioned leaderboards already. And then you can also set like levels and badges. So this is like the king of, I'm going to use a brand here, the king of Heineken for this month, or the queen of Heineken for this month. Different levels and badges that people get to attain, and it unlocks certain things for them, or certain discounts. It could be discounts or certain things like having freebies when you go into events, or having free tickets into events, right? And then the social sharing element, going back to the referral I mentioned earlier as well. So this is consumers in a nutshell. Again, I'll go to pause here just to hear if there are any questions.
So before the questions, let me just add a little bit on this consumers bit, if you don't mind.
Yeah.
So this is like Habib was saying, this is like an opportunity for brands to basically own their audiences, because the moment we're able to track how they engage with your brand, the moment we're able to track how they can spend with you and how they refer other people to your product, automatically it means that you can gamify it and turn the way that they consume your products into a bit of a game. So imagine in this situation now, let's look at some of the FMCG guys. One of the major issues that they face today is that most of their data is coming from like their big distributors, like their supermarkets. But with a product like consumers, where all they have to do is basically just plug in and play, automatically, like Habib was saying, if Toby, I go into like a shop somewhere in Egbeda and I buy a bottle of drink and I come into the consumers channel on Arena and just put in a code, it means that that brand is able to tell immediately that somebody called Toby living in this location just purchased a product from that location. So it means that they can have direct eyeballs on their last mile retail, but at the same time, they have like a platform where they're able to engage with the customers on an individual level, which they haven't been able to do for quite a long time now.
Okay, so thank you very much, Toby, for that. Are there any questions based on what myself and Toby have said?
I would like to actually ask a question. So I'm thinking like one of the consumers this time, and you've told me to download a particular game. I'm not interested in downloading. Is it possible for us to reach these consumers using rich media, as an example?
So I think maybe Toby should take this rich media.
Okay, so the customers are not required to download anything at all.
Okay.
So on the Proxima side of things, you're engaging them using, your campaign is built on an HTML5 link. The user simply receives that link. You can even put it in your brand's bio on Instagram, and all they have to do is just click, and straight they go into your game world, branded in your image and your colors, right? So they're not downloading anything. The same for Arena. Arena is also like on an HTML5 link. Then they can also download the app if they want to, but if they click on that link, they'll be able to click on the brand who they want to subscribe to their channel, and then enables them to engage, by putting in their codes for their points, referring their friends, engaging in the surveys and the games and things like that. So at no point is the user required to actually download anything. Your campaigns can also be embedded into your own landing pages. Correct me if I'm wrong, Habib, where your campaigns can also be embedded into your own landing pages or your websites if you want to do that as well.
Okay, I have a question. if the consumers are the ones imputing their points themselves, isn't there a way they can manipulate it? I'm just wondering.
So they're not okay, go on, Habib.
Yeah, so there's really no way to manipulate it because we generate those codes. So it's verifying against our database. If they put a wrong code, we'll know immediately or a code that has been used before.
Yeah. So they're not putting in the points, they're just putting in the codes.
Okay.
Okay. There are no questions. Toby, do you want to do the Nova one or should I go ahead? Okay. So final products
so
that we
Habib?
Yeah, sure.
So I was saying, let me just jump in for Nova.
Okay.
Let me just see if I have that deck prepared. So yeah, so far we've kind of looked at the products across our ecosystem. So how we generate leads, how we drive conversion instead of awareness by using gamification to drive the ad campaigns. And then we've looked at how we also sort of turn the user's experience of that brand into a bit of a game in order to drive retention. And like Habib mentioned earlier, the last thing that we look at is sales gamification. And because when it comes to gamification, there are three major areas that the brands that we speak to, they want to achieve. The first one is personalized engagement. The other one is sales uplift. And then the other one is data insight. So we've looked at data insight, we've looked a little bit at onboarding and engagement. But then there's this issue that we've noticed quite a lot. I think Habib sort of touched upon it earlier. When you go into most stores today, or you go into purchase a product, whether it's a restaurant or even like a phone shop, one of the major things that you'll notice is that there's a bit of a reactive nature to the salespeople within those locations. And one of the common questions they always ask is, what do you want? And what do you want is not a sales question in any way, shape, or form. So we began to ask ourselves why that was. We did a little bit of our own research. We spoke to people working at Booker Hut, spoke to some people working at Slots, and we find that a lot of these salespeople, they're not really, they're selling your products and they're also selling competitor products. They're getting paid maybe 25, 30, 35K a month with maybe a 500 Naira commission on top of their sales. Now, these guys are not tapped into that at all. They don't really understand the value of their position. They are the front end of your products and they're the ones that are selling it, but they're not motivated to do so. Anyway, we know that by gamifying how people work, how people sell, we can actually drive sales. We've done a little bit of research into it. And of course, there's a lot of study on sales gamification. And especially, we know that 71% of companies who implement it have reported anywhere between sort of 11% to 50% increase in sales. And for individual salespeople, we know that it can increase their performances by as much as 7x. Now, that's because with games, we're tapping into their core drives, we're tapping into their intrinsic needs, and we're using that to motivate them. We'll show you exactly how that works. Up to 70% of employees throughout the world will tell you that they don't feel engaged with their job. It's not really a surprise, really, because just like we showed you in the earlier presentation, the work versus game, a lot of what is going on at work is like you being manipulated or driven through a situation, unless you've gotten to the top echelon of your game, right? But with games, it kind of feels a bit more like you're in control. And employees around the world have said that a bit of gamification makes them feel more productive. And 88% of them report that it makes them happier with their role. Again, because it enables them to go from being reactive, it shows them how important they are in that setting, and enables them to tap into their best sales skills. So with Nova, what we do is we provide like a sales management system. Then we provide team competitions and tournaments that we can use to gamify the way the salespeople work. I'll take you through that. And of course, for this to be successful, we need to implement some really strong game mechanics in there. So epic meaning is in there, accomplishment and development is in there, social influence and relatedness is in there. And we're using mechanics like badges, avatars, and leaderboards. Ultimately, everything's about sales. So we're going to provide a dashboard, analytics dashboard that shows the sales metrics. Again, this is something we can provide for the agencies managing the brands or for the brands themselves. I'm not going to go too deep into this now. I'll just show you the flow for how Nova works. So like like we said, we we talk to these people and we know that their motivations are a lot more than 25,000 naira a month. Some of these guys want to go to school. Some of them want to own a laptop for the first time in their lives. Some of them want to own a mobile device, right? And we're able to tell the brands, look, we can set KPIs around these things that they need, these things that matter to them, and then we can gamify it by turning it into a competition either within their store or across multiple retail locations. So if you're a brand that is selling in gamification across all of those chains, how it works is that there's two ways of looking at it. For the retail shops themselves, we can create like tiers for them and say that if your salespeople hit these KPIs, right, your store will get a certain reward. Maybe they go from being a bronze partner to a silver partner to gold, where they get better credit, or maybe the shop owner gets to meet the CEO of the brand or whatever. These are rewards that these people want to get because it makes them feel like a sense of belonging. But for the salespeople, we're telling them if you hit the KPIs to enable your stores to develop to the next level, you yourself were tying your points into rewards that matter to you. So it could be things like airtime or data. It could be things like discount vouchers, like we mentioned before. It could be things even like insurance. But at the same time, we could tie it into specific rewards that they've chosen themselves. A new laptop, a phone, or travel to Dubai, or whatever. So the salesperson signs up. You can see here, Brand Mobile Sales Championship. And what we do is that, first of all, we want to give them more product knowledge. So we can take that product, break them down into like what we call micro courses, maybe about a minute long, talking to the salesperson about the value propositions. Maybe today, if you're selling a mobile phone, for instance, today we might be talking about the screens. Tomorrow we might be talking about the camera, how it works. Maybe next tomorrow might be about the bandwidth. But every single time you take those 1 minute, the seller takes those 1 minute courses, at the end, we're going to ask them a few questions, maybe between 3 to 4 questions, just to make sure that they're assimilating that knowledge. Again, how they answer those questions are tied into rewards. They're getting points for those. And those points are being represented, of course, on a leaderboard to show them how they're performing. Now, the other thing that can happen is that when they actually make a sale, they can come to log a sale, and there's a unique code that they can just pop in there, and it gives them their points. So they're gathering their points from a couple of ways. Either they're learning about products or they're making sales. Now, two things will always happen. The first one is that they become more proactive, because when the customer comes into the store now, it's not about what do you want. They know exactly what the products are. They're able to talk more about the value propositions. They're able to sell it more because they are motivated to do so. It is tied into their intrinsic need, into more like brand ambassadors for your products, because even when they go home, they will still keep talking to other people about your products because it ties into something that will be delivered to them. It is their game. They want to earn the ultimate reward within the game that they're playing. So that's just to show you exactly how Nova works. I think sales gamification is one of the most common types of gamification in the world. There's a lot of reasons why it's powerful, because first of all, it drives team culture. I've brought, and I can tell you that for a long time, and during that process, a lot of what we talked about in our store was, hey, what's your score? How are you doing? Like, everybody's competing on the leaderboard, and it just drives the culture. And also for like companies who have a CRM that they want their sales or even their staff to use, it enables adoption, because we can just tie the gamification process into making sure that these people are using the CRMs that you're paying for. Of course, it benefits the bottom line, because now every single salesperson across sell your products better, and of course that drives better knowledge, drives better information flow, but most of all, it is fun. Salespeople become engaged. And again, because of the fact that they're also selling your competitor product, it is highly unlikely that a customer will walk in and they recommend any other product other than the one that is beneficial to them. So yeah, that's a bit on Nova sales gamification. There is another aspect of this product which we've built out. I'm not going to talk about it too much today, but it's looking at like how we can drive it externally so that anybody can literally sign up and begin to sell products for any of your brands or FMCGs who put their inventory on our platform. But for the internal side, driving your own sales people or people who are selling to your customers, this is the most powerful tool in the market today. So if there's any question you want to ask around Nova, please do so, and then we can just run you very quickly through just some of our appendix and maybe some use cases.
Any question? Oh, okay, so Toby, let me ask this question. I mean, hoping that everyone will benefit from it. How do people get signed up, or how do, I mean, individuals here are C-level executives at agencies, and assuming they want to sign up or they want to use the platform, how does that go? How does that happen?
It's quite simple. Really, they can reach out to us. You could send us an email. You can give us a call. We can share our contact details. Let us know exactly what your brand is trying to achieve. Just send us a brief. We discuss that brief. We try to understand the motivations. Again, I always say that we try to understand the motivations behind that campaign. And together we'll put a strategy together. We'll leave our contact details, our emails. You can always reach out to us at any time.
Okay. Okay.
I have a question. Can I go ahead quickly?
Please.
Yes, please.
Okay. I wanted to ask if there is like a subscription fee that is attached to this. Of course, it's not going to be free. So I just wanted to know the financial implication.
Habib?
Yes, so there is going to be a subscription fee attached to this. So currently we have the basic package at $980. And again, we can share like the pricing right after this call, so you have a chance to look at it. And that's for Proxima, right? And then there's also a subscription fee for consumers. As I mentioned, the software as a service where you actually just go online and you actually pay your subscription fee isn't ready, and that will be ready in April. For now, it has to be like a conversation between us. But the way we charge is is it, you're trying to say something? Okay, no. So $980 for the basic package, where you don't get any integrations whatsoever with any other platforms. You just use Proxima as is. In the scenario where you have to plug in with your own systems, that could go up as much as 1.2 to 1.5, depending on what it is. Now, for Proxima, if you're doing, depending on the type of game you're doing, right, like I mentioned earlier, if it's a custom-built game, that has to be something we look at the requirements and then we give you the cost for that. But that's along the pricing for Proxima. Yeah.
Okay.
Was that clear?
Yes, it is. Thank you.
Okay, great.
Toby, do you still have any other thing you want to discuss on this?
Not really. We're literally at the end of it, so we're just going to run you through like our appendix. This is exactly what Habib has been talking about. One of the most beautiful things about our platforms is the fact that they are in real time. So once that software as a service side is also built out, you'll be able to come here and create your own accounts and run your own campaigns. This is actually like the dashboard for a real campaign we ran for Maltina. You can see here with a 60% conversion rate, with under 24 hours, really, with almost nothing spent, just 500K for airtime that they put up. We're able to generate more than 25,000 unique links. Or hold on, let me look at that properly. Yeah, 25,000 engagement with about 15,000 unique links, about a 60% conversion rate. With the dashboard, you can see your wallet. You know, once you've subscribed, you can see how much you have in there. You can see how your engagements are performing, the different types of games you're deploying. You can see what rewards are working best for you. Is it airtime? Is it data? Is it discounts? And of course, all of the information around what types of devices your users are using, where you're acquiring them from. Are they coming from Facebook, Twitter, and of course their locations as well. There are other pieces of information that they're answering the survey questions within the campaigns. We're able to then sort of help you group them into different user sets so that when you come to run another campaign, it's a lot easier for you to retarget or remarket to them. Just to look around, we do have experience. We're part of a European organization that has deployed campaigns, gamification campaigns all over Europe and Ireland, Norway, Denmark, Russia, Baltics. Habib and myself, we then came into Africa and we built out our ecosystem from scratch, starting from last year. And hopefully, like you said, by April, most of the services will become purely software as a service, and you may not even need to contact us for anything. These are just a look at a couple of the proof of concept campaigns we ran earlier last year. Also, you can see from the P&G campaign, again, similar sort of situation, just money for airtime, under about 24 hours really. It was spread across 2 days. Total impressions over 28,000, 53% conversion rate, with over 15K unique leads generated. For Europe, gamification is a real thing, and most campaigns are usually highly successful. You can see for Starbucks, we did a campaign to just drive their customers to reactivate. So people who were already on their loyalty CRM, over 72% of them returned. Conversion rate for Carlsberg, this was a fantastic campaign, Carlsberg social voucher, because I think I was saying to someone earlier, there are campaigns that don't even involve a game. In this scenario, we'll just send you like a link and says, hey, congratulations, Demola, you've just won a free bottle of Carlsberg. But for you to redeem it, you need to share this link with your friend. You share that link, that person puts in their own details as well, and automatically it activates your joint voucher. You can then choose what location you want to go and redeem it. And of course, you can decide to split the voucher if you want, but you may need to give us a piece of information or take a particular call to action. So this one drove about 55% conversion rate. And this is like the most successful campaign we ran in Europe for Circle K. Circle K are like a mini mart that you find in gas stations. And a lot of people coming to buy their petrol, but not a lot of people coming into the mini mart. And we ran a campaign across Scandinavia just to drive that online, offline that Habib was showing you in the Proxima flow. So these users were giving them rewards like Snicker bar, burger, basic snacks. But you can imagine, out of the over 2 million people that were targeted in this campaign, 88% of them actually went to redeem their rewards. Now, again, that is purely because, going back to what we're saying, a lot of gamification has nothing to do with games itself. It's more to do with the motivating factors. When people have played games and they've been involved and they've immersed yourself in your campaign, and then you give them a reward, that reward just represents the end of the game. Doesn't matter how small it is, most people will take the action you need to go and redeem that reward, which is why we always tie our rewards into a specific call to action. And in some cases, we use loss and avoidance to boost it, tell them you only have 30 minutes to redeem it. In Europe, the roads are a lot freer. People are going to jump in their cars, drive to the nearest Circle K just to get a free Snicker bar. But of course, when they get there, more than often, they buy other products as well. So that's it on the gospel of gamification and look at our ecosystem. I guess I'll pause here to take any questions that you have.
Is there any question from anyone here?
Let me just ask a question. I think I missed, my name is Tunde. Well done. I think I missed a little bit of the whole presentation, maybe about 10 minutes. So I quickly went to another meeting, so I wouldn't know if what I'm about to ask has been addressed. So, well, I wanted to ask about pricing, and someone asked about that. So I saw that you said $980 from what I gathered. However, I wanted to know, that's a fixed cost. Are there variable costs? For example, you showed, that's to use your software, right? I mean, let's say one wants to access some databases. I mean, I think I saw somewhere where you showed, or where you mentioned that you have some partnerships with Transsion, and then I'm assuming that you're going to open up maybe people to that database for whatever campaign one might be interested in. So what's the cost on that end, or does this cover it? I just want to get some clarity around that.
Okay, so yeah, I think maybe Toby should speak more about the third-party companies, because for those ones, I think we have to get you the pricings from them and what they charge. And that's more of a kind of like how do I put, like a sponsored campaign off of our platform. The $980 is purely for our platform.
Okay. I get that.
Okay. So you don't need any more clarity, right?
No. Obviously, it means that on a need basis, one will be able to work out what the price will be per time, right? So I get that. I just wanted to know what the $980 cost.
Okay.
Yeah. Thanks.
Okay. Any other question? So, Toby, you wanted to give gifts to people who asked questions, who answered questions, and those who were able to identify the number of Davido's image that was on your presentation. I don't know if you want to go through that. I was able to take notes.
Sorry, Demola, can I cut you a little bit? I wanted to ask a question too before. Sorry.
Yeah.
Which is what's the website address, or this is my real question? Is there a website address or a demo interface somewhere to see these things even without having to talk to you? I wanted to know if there is a place where, okay, I want to show someone, and I just go to the place and say, okay, look at it, even if it's just your website, like a landing page or something. Thank you.
Yeah, there is. I mean, we have our website, but what we can do is we can share a few of our demo campaign links that we've run so far, and maybe some prototypes of campaigns that we've built in the past as well, just to give you an idea of the user's journey from end to end.
Okay, no problem then. Thank you.
You're welcome.
So, Toby, I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 people asked questions. Dupe Sonny asked 2 questions. Olabode Fashola asked 2 questions. Obina Ipi asked 1 question. Ugo asked 1 question. Then Tunde Foster asked 2 questions. None of them has answered any question. None of them has identified the number of Davido image that you placed on your presentation. So I don't know what you want to do with that.
I think it was obviously going to be hard to track on the Davido side of things.
Okay.
But I guess if Habib is okay, we can just decide to reward everybody just for participating in the session and making it interactive.
Wow.
So today everybody's a winner.
Awesome. So what are they
Is that
winning?
okay with you?
You could please mention the reward again.
They win 20% discount on our services, but they have 2 weeks to redeem it.
Okay.
Yay!
That's great. So that's awesome. So if you want the Toby, I think Toby and Habib, you are willing to release the presentation. Is that correct?
Yes, that's fine.
Okay, that's fine. So if you want the presentation, just send me. I'm not sure everybody has my email. Send me. You can drop your email address now, so I can copy it, and I will email that to you. Then also, I think I can get Toby and Habib to do another session. If you need a personal clarity on this, I think I can, with the power that I have, I think I can get them to do another session or to give more clarity if it's on the pricing or anything anybody needs. Like I said, the agenda for me today is to spread knowledge, is to spread information, and facilitate people meeting themselves and doing business together. And I think I've done well with that. And I want to appreciate everyone who had joined in, committed their time to this. I look forward to interacting with everybody, and we can hopefully, support what you do and help the business grow. All right, thank you so very much. Final word from you, Habib and Toby.
Just thank you everybody for your participation. And like Demola mentioned, if anybody needs any further clarification, please just let us know. We'll schedule a meeting, and we can even take you through like more use cases of campaigns that we've run before in the past in Europe and in Nigeria as well. Thank you so much, guys.
Okay.
Thank you.
So you guys are going to email us, right?
Yes, I'll send the presentation to you. The session was recorded. If it's possible, I will include that in what I'm sending.
Okay. I just dropped my email, so please do, because so that we can pick up the conversation from there.
Yeah, exactly. Just drop your email and I will be able to do that.
All right.
All right. Thank you so much.
Email on the chat.
Yeah, I'm taking all the email addresses on the chat. I'm copying them out.
Okay, cool.
Yes. Thank you so very much, Toby and Abib. Thank you for your time. Job well done. I mean, like I always tell you, I am very impressed with the platform, with the work you put into what you're doing, and in my opinion, it's a game changer. You know, so thank you so very much. All right, enjoy the rest of the day, everyone.
Thank you very much for bringing us here too.
Yeah. Bye for now.
Thank you.
Thanks, Demola.
Bye.
Take care, guys. Cheers. Bye-bye.